Again, good morning. So everyone, please turn on your video if it's possible. Thank you. Okay, let's also check our videos and audio. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, we
Yes
can
po.
hear you.
How about the screen that I'm sharing right now? Can you see it?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what you see?
A girl.
A girl praying.
Okay.
The girl is praying.
Girl is praying. Okay, so please mute now. I can hear the barking of your puppy. Thank you. Okay, may I ask, how are you doing? Can you give me a thumbs up or heart rate? I assume at least, right? We are slowly adjusting to this new normal. Thank you. Okay, let's start with a prayer. May I call Sir Eugene to lead the short prayer? Thank you.
Holy God, Holy Spirit, Holy Jesus, I'm asking for your presence to come here in this place, oh God. Lord, right now I'm asking for support, for protection, for knowledge and wisdom. Please provide us all of the knowledge, knowledge that we need right now, and do not abandon us when we need you, Lord God. Lord, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Sir Eugene, for a wonderful prayer. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so again, our before we forget, right? Our class picture before the class. Who's again assigned to this one? Can you unmute yourself? No one?
Karen po.
Who?
Karen.
Carmen. Ma'am Carmen, are you there?
Karen. Karen.
Car. Okay.
Yes. Nagigising lang.
Ay, good morning. Okay. Next time is okay. Ready?
Ah,
And one, two, three.
wait lang.
Okay.
Wait lang na.
It's okay. I'm doing it. Next panel. Smile. One, three. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Let's proceed. Okay. Do you know Rika? Do you know, can you tell Ma'am Rika to next time follow the format? Okay. Let's start with a game. Ready for a game? Can you give me a wow react there? Wow react. Okay. So, I assume you're familiar with the game. Put a finger down, right? Do you know that? Okay, I see the nodding. So I would like you to raise your or to lift up your hands. Yeah, 10 hands. And then, you have to just put a finger down if you're guilty of the statement. Okay, so yeah, this is great. Okay, so first is put a finger down if you have never been to a college sports game. You have never been. Okay. Next, put a finger down if you have never ever said a bad word. You did it? Okay. Wow, never ever said a bad word. Next, put a finger down if you have never ever been on Facebook. Great, great. You have never been on Facebook. Okay, put a finger down. This is the fourth one. If you have never ever stayed up all night. You have never ever stayed up all night. Okay. So next, put a finger down if you have never ever pretended to be sick so you could miss school. Okay, we're losing fingers there. Okay, next, put a finger down. Okay, if you have never been called to the principal's office. Never been called. Wow, okay. Put a finger down if you have never lied to a teacher. Okay. Put a finger down if you have never ever cried in the school bathroom. Never ever cried in the school bathroom. Okay. Put a finger down if you have never passed notes in class. Put a finger down if you have never passed notes in class. Okay, wow. Next, put a finger down if you have never ever been to a school dance. Okay, so I think we got the 10 questions. May I see who still have their 10 fingers raising? Can you show me clearly? Is it Ma'am Jean? No? Ma'am Jean? May I see? Do you have complete fingers still?
9, ma'am.
Oh, 9. Okay, thank you. How about... Uy! Ma'am Geraldine, 10. Would you like to share? How come you never experienced all these?
9 po, 9.
9. Sorry. I mislooked it. Okay, thank you. You may put down your fingers. So, some still have their 8 fingers, 9, 7, right? And I think, yeah, majority still have their 5 fingers raising. So, later, we're gonna check what's the connection, right, of these to our discussion. So, let's proceed. Okay, let's talk about, yeah, concepts of teaching. Sorry. Okay, so in everyday speech, right, the word teaching has 3 uses. As a verb, it refers to actions, right, intended to bring about learning, and as a noun, it can refer either to the occupation, just like if you are called to be a teacher, right, for you, it's your occupation, of one who educates, right, or instructs, or to a body of ideas or beliefs, right, as in the teachings of a particular religion or culture, or any subject matter that you are about to teach or you are teaching. And we will focus here, right, the activity sense wherein teaching is understood to be a set of actions designed to lead others. For instance, to know something that they did not know before, definitely that's our function, right? To know how to do something they did not know, that's also the purpose we are here, especially if you are teaching what skill based, right? Topic, for instance, and to acquire an attitude or belief that your students did not have before. This is part, I mean, the third part that I mentioned is definitely part of the values formation, right? And you will, I think, agree with me, right? That in our lesson plan, it's always important to have your values there. And it is also part of the hidden curriculum because, right, if you have heard of the hidden curriculum, these are topics definitely or lessons that are not literally posted in the curriculum guide course syllabus because even no matter, right, how technical your subject matter is or the course title is, as a teacher you cannot stop yourself from integrating values into your lesson. So let's continue. Okay, concepts of teaching. These will be our, sorry, objectives. Oops. Okay. Okay, next, views on teaching as a vocation, mission, and profession. Nature of teaching. Basic dimensions of the teaching profession. So this will be our topics for today. And yes, yeah, as you can see, I have my picture there. And yeah, we'll talk about teaching as a vocation. Why is it also a mission and a profession? So as you notice, I have there a class picture with my STEM students, I think last year or 2 years ago. And I think I taught them reading and writing skills. And we also have our picture, I mean, my picture together with the Dean Rosales. This is my fellow graduate also, batchmate, and Sir JP, also faculty of the College of Education, if you have met him. Okay, to proceed, yeah, vocare. Okay, vocation comes from the Latin word vocare, which means to call, just like what the picture says there. Right? If there is a call, there must be a caller. So someone has called you into this, just like what I shared last time, right? I told you that this is merely my calling. And if there is a call, there must be a caller and someone who is called. So I assume and I hope that you are the ones who are called. Okay, and there must also be a response, right? It's either what? It's either this decline or accept. So may I see, right, a heart reaction if you have accepted the call, or this calling? Wow, three, four, five, many. Wow, I'm so happy. Wow, okay. So yeah, many are called. So I hope, right? Since you are called, I hope your response would be what would be to accept. Okay, because this generation definitely needs you. Okay, next. So I also received this from my students from PUP Puliran when I was still teaching there. And well, that reminds me definitely that the Bible is full of stories of men and women who are called by God to do something not for themselves, but for others. For example, this one, right? We have here Muhammad, last of the prophets to be called by Allah to spread the teachings, and Buddha, right? Who must have, okay, I think someone is controlling. May I disable first? Okay, so, and then we have your Buddha, who must have heard the call to abandon his royal life in order to seek the answer to problem and suffering. And definitely, if it's a calling, and you'll notice that whatever you want to do, like for example, worldly desire or worldly dream of yours, right? And no matter how much you would like to go for it, I remember one of my students, a first year college student, last week he shared to us that yes, he is in this program, but he is definitely receiving a calling to be a pastor. So if that's a calling, right, I mean, definitely you cannot say no to that. So okay, next. And then of course Moses right here, right, to deliver also the 10 commandments given by God. And here, right, we have your teaching is a vocation. So perhaps you never dreamt of becoming a teacher. To some, for those who did not give me heart react. But here you are now preparing to be one. And I'm so happy that you have at least, right, received the call, even if you haven't responded to it. So, right, and how did it happen? For those who believe, right, it was God who called you. I assume that happened to me. It was God who called you here for you to teach, right? Like these biblical figures did not also understand the events surrounding their call. And but in great faith, we will answer yes. I mean, in my case, I already answered yes. Okay. Are you still following? Can you give me a thumbs up there? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. And then let's proceed. Okay. So we're going to watch this video. And I think I've shared this to all my students. Whatever, definitely if they're part of the College of Education. And I hope you're gonna learn something from this. Once you, okay. Can you give me a like react if you heard that? If you heard the sound, so at least, okay, great. So, thank you.
I don't think there's audio on the video.
Excuse me, sorry. What's the problem? There's no audio?
We can hear it
Um,
po.
Okay, you can't hear it? There's no audio?
Yeah.
In my case, there is, so maybe I may double check the audio here. Or let me just replay because I can hear it clearly, so let us check. But earlier, someone heard it. I think Ma'am Geraldine. You heard it, ma'am? You give me light again. What's your takeaway from the video? So, you may go to this link or you may scan the QR code if you have another device there and then write your takeaway there. So, I'll give you 5 minutes and then later on I will call someone, right, to share. Okay? So, take your time. I'll give you 5 minutes to do this. So tell me, what's your takeaway from Mom Sabrina? Okay, that tech talk delivered by Mom Sabrina was titled Our Return on Investment. And usually this is our what question or what confusion or curiosity at times, right? That what really is our return on investment? And you will realize it's not definitely the monetary, right, return on investment, but definitely these like knowing or seeing your students what achieve the goal, for instance, even though not entirely but slowly, right, you are achieving the goal with them and you can see the passion, right, from Ma'am Sabrina and Kiko. And the first part was actually a, an open letter, right, that she posted years ago, and that also became a trend. It's an open letter to her students, and usually whenever I will what ask my students to watch this, even at the very beginning, they because they assume or they stand on their role of student, and they realize that maybe sometimes they became that kind of student, right? Sometimes they rush into things, and especially the generation now is into instant things, right? And if you can recall, she said there, right, I've never seen a person or met a person who became a doctor once waking up. So right, it's really matter of hard work, right? And perseverance and all. So, are you still writing, typing? You may also attach files there if you like. The passion she emits just by sharing the experiences of being a public school teacher is very touching to see. Okay, thank you for that. Another takeaway is that teaching is a job that where is that? That you need to have a strong passion for, definitely, right? It doesn't pay a lot, but for some people, seeing their students, you may continue typing, right? Achieve your, or maybe achieve their goals in life, right? Especially the testimony she delivered about Darwin, if you can recall, right? And Darwin, I assume that Darwin is a graduate now of college. Maybe Darwin is working because when I asked my former student who's also graduated of BSED Math, right, who became a student of Ma'am Sabrina as well, he knew about Darwin. So, okay, after listening to Ms. Onkiko's TED Talk, I definitely have a new appreciation for, wow, thank you for that, appreciation for teachers as well as for the profession. Her letter to her students was very heartfelt. Okay, and I felt how much she loved her students and her job, right? Definitely. And you realize that it doesn't stop there, right? It doesn't stop there in the classroom, but also when she and her friends decided to create this group, right? This support group, Kapit Guru. Okay, what else? Okay, let me read other takeaways. Her passion and heart is the only thing we need. Wow. Yeah, definitely as teachers. What else? Public school. Where is that? Public school teacher is a job that needs courage, passion, and also a heart to touch each student. Wow, great. After watching the video, I appreciate more the passion and sacrifice of the teachers. Wow, yeah, thank you so much for that. And definitely you will receive that return on investment in the future. In my case, I can also give a testimony, just like what happened to Ma'am Sabrina in terms of Darwin. I also have my kind of Darwin. I think first year or second year of teaching, and he's a math major. And then he's during this course that we had, he he attended the class and then suddenly he stopped attending. So I asked the class, of course, you need to get to know your learner. And then I asked the class, why is he not anymore attending the class and so on. And then they told me that, ma'am, he needs to work in a construction, he needs to help his dad and all. And then there at least a chance that he attended again. Then you know what I did, I told him that he has a good future, definitely the great future. Why? Because the classmates also told me that growing up, he's really excelling in mathematics and he even joined M top competition. So I just believed in him. But when you do it, you have to do it sincerely, right? When you look into the eyes of your student and you say these encouraging words, right, or motivational words, you have to be very sincere that you believe in them. And just like what happened to Ma'am Onkiko, yes, right? I believe and then I see. It's not anymore a matter of what to see, what's that? To see is to believe, but in our case, it's to believe for us to see, right? And after talking to that student, he continued what? Attending the class, right? However, okay, I think just years ago, or a year ago, he showed up, right, to me at the faculty room because he's asking something about his sister who's studying at PUP, and then he sacrificed. But he told me, he promised me that he's gonna continue his studies. But yeah, elder siblings, right? They always sacrifice for their siblings. So let me continue reading. Students will be more productive and motivated if they saw their teacher. This is if they saw their teacher exerts love than being just a teacher. Yeah, that is true. Because we are not just here, right? If you can recall, right, the goals, right, the major goals where we are in the field is not only because to teach the subject matter, but definitely to transform the young generation. Let me read some. Wow, teaching has never been an easy profession. Teachers are often overworked. Wow, yeah. And underpaid, literally. But as educators, these hardships are worthy if their students learn and grow as wonderful citizens or just an amazing people. Okay, great. Themselves. It was a very moving speech. And I appreciated it. Wow, thank you for that. Teaching was never my first choice, but upon hearing her speech, I think wow, I'm feeling goosebumps right now. Thank you for that realization, right? I knew it, right? It will never be like a waste of 10 minutes, I think, to watch this video of Mamong Kiko. Okay, what else? Public teaching brings hope to the change in life of Filipino youth. Wow, thank you. What else? Watching the video made me emotional. There are so much to reminisce during my elementary and high school days. It brings so much joy to my heart that there are teachers like Miss Sabrina Onkiko, that is who has a burning passion and faith to teach students. Wow, thank you for that. And yeah, we thank also God for using Ma'am Sabrina to speak to us. It's sad that a lot of teachers are underappreciated. Oh, very cool. I'm quite a fan of the speaker. Oh, that's good to hear. It really takes a lot of courage and dedication to mold minds and inspire students. She's an ideal teacher for. Yeah, that is great to hear. What else? What strikes me most is that it doesn't matter if you're idealistic or realistic, rather face what's real in front of you. Correct. With both ideas and passion, I think that's very powerful. Amazing. Takeaway. What else? Teachers deserve acknowledgement from everyone. Right? But yeah, just like what I shared last time, or if I have shared that, Colossians 3:23 says that we do it for the to please man. But yeah, don't worry if you don't receive because that might be your goal, right? Or purpose. Maybe to some teachers, they feel jealous about their what teacher friends who teach in private school who receive these tangible gifts, right? But it's not a matter of that. It's not a matter of receiving gifts in every occasion, but it's a matter of you giving glory to him by teaching. So I think you will better receive your reward in heaven rather than your reward from people. So thank you. Later, I will also acknowledge all those. But may I at least hear one of you to at least really verbalize your takeaway, and I appreciate all those. Can someone unmute himself or herself? Asaram, would you like to speak? Because earlier, I think you're the first one who reacted hard, even from the very beginning. Anyone, you may raise a hand. You may click raise a hand so I can accommodate you. Again, I highly encourage, right, participation here. And thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. And next time, if we do this takeaway again, please include your name so at least I can but give you acknowledgement to that. And yes, Karen, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Um, what I learned about this video is you will not just teach the student,
Mm-hmm.
but you can also learn by them.
Correct. Right? It's not only us. I agree to that. I totally agree to that. Right? It's not only the teachers who learn from their students, but definitely we learn as teachers, we learn from our students. Especially like what Ma'am Sabrina talked about what Darwin being in public school for 5 years, right? And even though she's a teacher, she appreciated, right? And she definitely acknowledged the 5 years of experience of Darwin in the public school. Okay, who else? Sir Joshua?
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
So, yung takeaway ko po sa video is public school teachers are the best po.
Wow, great, great. Thank you. I've been like ever since, right? I'm also a product of public school even up to college. So yeah, thank you. And Sir Eugene, you raised your hand?
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. After watching the video, I have learned that teaching is not just a profession, it is life itself.
Wow. Okay, great, great. They even told us, right? Find a job that you love, you really love doing, so you will never work a day in your life. And I think this is, right? Teaching is like that. Ma'am Meth, thank you. Okay. Are you there? Ready?
Ay, ma'am, ako po ba?
Yes, you raised your hand. I saw you.
Uh, it's very personal, but my mom also works in a public school po here in Tondo.
Good. Mhm.
And when I grew up, ano, while I'm studying at the same time she was teaching, I really hated when she asked for my old clothes, ganon. And then I had to share my lunch with other students that I don't know, ganyan.
Mm.
Pero like when I grew up, I realized na, hala, naiyak. Sana hindi siya pumasok. Hindi, my mom is really passionate. And when I was, parang mga grade 4, 5, 6 ko na na-realize na, yeah, there were students who are not really as lucky as me. And
Mm.
it it makes a lot of sense na, yeah, kaya pala pag brigada eskwela, konting tawag lang ni mama, may mga estudyanteng willing lumapit sa mama. Or like, yeah, tapos parang sasabihin ko na, ay, damit ko yan eh. Ganun, gaganon ako. Pero, and, siguro nag-make sense lang siya. Nag-make sense lang siya nung parang, may mga graduate na talagang students, and then, they will remember my mom. And then, they will say na, si mom yung, magbibigay ng uniform sa akin, ganyan. Si mom yung nagpapakain sa akin ng breakfast para lang pumasok.
Great.
It's very touching talaga.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, that is so true. I mean, teaching will definitely inculcate your attitude of generosity. You will really be, unconsciously be generous to your students. Next, Sir Ram.
Sorry po, ma'am. Na home screen ko po yung phone ko kanina.
It's okay.
Sorry. So after watching the video po, isa lang po yung na-realize ko na teaching po talaga is my calling, and I want to take this moment to acknowledge everyone in this class na sobrang proud ako sa kanila for choosing this path na na kasi kailangan tayo ng future, and nakikita ko na may magandang future na naghihintay yung mga estudyante namin dahil sa amin na wait lang. na buong pusong pinili yung path ng pagtuturo. Yun lang po.
Right. Thank you, Sir Ram. So let's proceed. Thank you for your takeaways. Okay. So also teaching, right? Is said to be, yeah. Can you see my screen now? Can you give me a thumbs up reaction for that? Okay, thank you. So, yeah, missio means to send. So, you are called to be a teacher and you are sent into the world to accomplish a mission to teach, right? Or, as the dictionary defines it, it is a task assigned to you or to us, right, teachers? Okay, to continue. Teaching is a mission. I remember my fourth year. I literally heard this line from my fourth year bio teacher, fourth year college. She told us teaching is a mission, not a job. So it is a task entrusted to you in this world. And if it's your assigned task, what naturally you've got to prepare yourself for it. That's why you are in the field, you are in the program, right? You are like yearly, I think for 4 years, you are preparing yourself for it. And from now on, you cannot take your studies for granted. So I hope you will take your studies seriously. And let me just share. Okay, these we call this our friendship goals. These are my friends, and it's definitely by grace that we, like majority passed. I mean, all of us passed the let. So I hope you will have that and make sure to also cover your number there, right? Your PRC license number. So your identity will be kept secured. So yeah, I'm just proud of my classmates because I think like three of them, right, are still in the until now are still in the BPO. But one is actually a TL. Okay, he's now a TL, and based on his testimonies, he's also like a teacher. He can still apply this because it's simply like andragogy means adult. You are teaching adults, and yeah, just so proud of my friends. So to continue, yeah, do not take your studies for granted, just like what I said. And once a teacher, maybe you heard this cliche, right? Once a teacher, forever a student. And yeah, maybe now, or maybe you were like me before, that I said I will never be like a teacher because with the lame excuse that what you will study forever, but you will really appreciate. Or maybe even here in college, you will not be satisfied with all the learnings you'll have. And then you take your master's degree program, and then you realize, oh my, there are a lot of things to know, not only in the field of or specialization, right, but also in other aspects. Okay, and you remind yourself that you are unique. Your unique contribution is in the field where you are prepared for, which is teaching. Okay. And next, yeah, what exactly is our mission to teach? Is it merely to teach the child basic skills? Right? Maybe if you are Gen Ed major, but you're not, help the child master the basic skills, or maybe now for secondary, so she can continue to learn higher order thinking skills. I'm very particular with the HOTS. Become a productive member of society, maybe. All right, it's a mission. Help a student become knowledgeable about the information into, and then insert right into their empty minds, to be withdrawn during quizzes and tests, or is it what, to facilitate maximum development or holistic, right, development of a student, or be a man of culture and expertise, especially if you are teaching just your major. So what exactly, right, is their mission to teach? So to teach is to influence every child entrusted in your care to become better and happier because life becomes more meaningful. So, yeah, I hope slowly, right, we are reverberating on this part, right, reflecting on this mission as teachers. Okay, and to teach is to help the child become more human. Why? There are other things that the child is hesitant, right, to showcase. Why? There are many factors, right? He's shy, he's suffering from stage fright and all, or he's really not into talking. But once you get his trust, right, not only attention, but definitely his trust, he will naturally speak to you and share to you all the things he can do. And now, kids or even youth, right, they're into sharing things. So as teachers, just like what I said, let's be what good listeners. And teaching is a way of helping your students discover the truth. This is how I define teaching. If I will be asked to define teaching, this is I got this also from my professor in the graduate school, and because he asked us how do you define teaching, and then we define this and that, and this is definitely the sum of everything. It is a way of helping our students discover the truth. Why? Whatever you teach, right, it should be based on truth. You shouldn't be just joking around, right? I mean, there can be a fun moment in the class, but still they should be learning the truth. And just to share with you this, right? She's Hazel, and she's my very first disciple. She's also my student. We had the same age, and but she's my former student at PUP Pulilan. She graduated with the degree entrepreneurship. And you know what? Since she's my very first disciple, I think definitely the Lord spoke to me in that matter for to share the gospel to her, right? And until now, we remain in contact. We remain friends, and yeah, I even cried during this moment. And then she was there, like maybe curious, why is my teacher crying? She should be the one crying, not me. But yeah, I was the one crying because I can say that that is an answered prayer. I think I waited for years or 5 years to of my Christian journey to be able to have my very first disciple. So you will also have your own disciples in the future. And just to share with you these class pictures I have, these are with my senior high school, right? So okay. By the way, you are what secondary, right? Teachers, you realize that I mean, it's true that when you look for a job in the field in the future, you can teach lower, right? If your specialization or grade level degree is higher, right? And then there's one below, there's level before, and definitely you can teach elementary, for instance. And definitely if you're teaching in college, you can teach senior high, you can teach LM, right? But if you are, for example, in LM, you cannot teach secondary. So that's the thing there. So next. Okay, I also have here. Okay, pictures with my college students. Maybe you know these people. These are fourth year. They already graduated just this what was that? September. And then my B.Ed, my best ed, of course, I had a lot of class pictures, but I need to condense everything. So I'm teaching senior high school now. I mean college students from the very beginning. And I also teach post baccalaureate degree programs. So these are the people who already earned their 4 year degree, right? However, they would like to teach because their 4 year degree, right, or their undergrad or bachelor's degree are not education or teaching, not into teaching. So for instance, one is a graduate of biology or tourism, and they heard the calling. Imagine, it's not too late, right? If someone really wants to teach or someone would like to go back to schooling. So these are my postbac students. And yeah, let's watch these documentary about Elizabeth Miranda, and let's try to appreciate more of her passion for teaching, because it's not only about what our comfortability, right, when it comes to teaching, but it's really sacrifice. Anyway, thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me po?
Yes, I can hear you. What's the
Actually,
reason you're watching Ma'am Elizabeth Miranda crossing 5 rivers just to go to school?
hello, ma'am. So I am quite inspired about her story because as a teacher, if you are really passionate about your job, you are never afraid to take responsibility.
Mm.
And as per ma'am Elizabeth, um, she is that kind of a role model for all the teachers because she is not afraid, and she's very willing to take whatever responsibility would be given to her.
Mm-hmm.
just to do her job and with the best that she can. For as long as she is doing it for her students, it may be dangerous,
Yeah.
and since her way to school is very far from her home and it's quite dangerous for her, but she is doing this for the sake of her students, and that is kind of a selfless
Act.
act.
Correct.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Sir Ebner. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Right. That really takes what courage, right? And you can see, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that she didn't mind, right? The danger there. She does, but you can't really see, right? The fear from the beginning. Like as long as she's passionate to go to that school and teach these young learners. How about Sir Ram?
So po,
Hello.
seeing her situation makes me feel sad po, but at the same time, my heart is overwhelmed with happiness and hope po. She never let her difficult situation hinder her to teach the children who needs education. Seeing the documentary inspired me more to become an educator. Parang ito
Mm-hmm.
uh, yung yung nagmulat sa akin na
Mm-hmm.
lalong mas nagmulat sa akin na kailangan ng mundo ng isang guro.
Wow. Yeah,
Yun po.
I'm feeling goosebumps again with that. Thank you for keep the passion burning, huh? Okay, who else? Ma'am Steph?
Um, well, seeing the location po ng documentary, it really hit home because that's where my mom grew up.
Really?
And in Occidental Mindoro, we still go there for vacation sometimes. We were supposed to go there this year, but the pandemic, we couldn't. Um, she used to tell me stories about how she would have to cross rivers and go up mountains to go to school. I thought she was just exaggerating because I wasn't exactly the best elementary student back then.
Mhm.
But now seeing this and seeing other documentaries about this that I researched, it really I can really say I'm really proud of her because now we have a home. She has a home. She's a nurse now in abroad. So, and as someone who's gonna become a teacher,
Mhm.
I feel really inspired that I I know someday I'll have the same passion and same drive as Miss Elizabeth Miranda. Ilan po. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for that. And yeah, that's happening literally, right? And as you mentioned, Ma'am Steph, you've seen so many documentaries like these where teachers are teaching in hazardous places. And you might ask me, ma'am, I've heard also that they are being paid with hazardous pay, but not you know that not all of them actually receive the right compensation. So yeah, salute to these teachers. Or maybe you have this calling also, right? I've had this calling before. I think at least the dream of teaching in mountains. I've also had a classmate in high school who graduated psych, but she's now teaching there in I think Santa Elena or Santa Ana in Tanay Rizal. It's also a mountain. And she told me that it's really hard because sometimes it rains and then the mud was so slippery, right? But they need to, they need to bring extra clothes, right? And they need to change in the actual school. And they just come home like weekly or to some, right? Months before they come home. Thank you for sharing. To continue. Okay, next. Okay, so yeah, at last, and then you can tell me or you can tell yourself mission accomplished, right? If you have received any return on investment in any form, thank you message from a student, right? A testimony, their success, seeing their success, this mission accomplished on our part. Okay. So another teaching is not a job, it's a mission, just like what I shared last time. So how will we know if it's a mission or a job? So if you're doing it only because you are paid for it, it's a job. Okay? If you're doing it not only for the pay or payment, but also for service, it's a mission. Okay, this is adapted from Ministry or Job by Anna Sandberg. So to continue, it's actually somehow long. Okay, if you quit because your boss or colleague criticized you, it's a job. If you keep on teaching out of love, it's a mission. Sometimes, right? Or maybe not sometimes, right? Most of the time, the reason of quitting a job is not because the job itself, right? But sometimes the people around you. And mostly this is the scenario of my friends, and then they would tell me, right, no matter how high the salary is, right? If the environment is not healthy, I don't think you can stay there for long. Okay, next. If you teach because it does not interfere with your other activities, right? It's a job, right? Because it's only out of what? Convenience. If you are committed to teaching, even if it means letting go of other activities, it's a mission. So even if you really would like to have that to watch that K-drama series, but you really want to, right, attend your class, you want to focus on studying, right? That is also a mission. Next. If you quit because no one praises or thanks you for what you do, it's a job. I just like what I told you, we have to be careful not to please the world, not to please the people here, because pleasing people is tiring. In any aspect of your life, right? You realize that pleasing people is tiring. You will never please someone. You can never please people, because every time they will give you expectation and you will achieve that expectation, they will give you another, right? So the pleasing part never ends. But yeah, if you remain teaching, even though nobody, take note, even if nobody recognizes your efforts, it's a mission. Don't worry, you will receive your reward in heaven. Okay, it is hard to get excited about a teaching job, but it's almost impossible not to get excited about a mission. Okay, more. If our concern is success, it's a job. If our concern is success plus faithfulness, it's a mission. Okay, so more, an average school is filled by teachers doing their teaching job. A great school is filled with teachers involved in the mission of teaching. And maybe, right? Not maybe, but certainly the two videos that we watch, the two videos that we watch definitely what fall on mission. Okay, so your homework would be, because it's a film, so you will just watch this film, Freedom Writers. Is there someone who has watched this film? Okay, would you like to use heart react if you have watched this? Sir Ebner, that's great. Right, so I just love this film so much that it also, I think, reflects. Sir Ebner, you'd like to say something? You muted yourself again. Okay, so this is about this teacher Erin Grewell. It's based on true story. If you're a fan of movies, right, based on true story, it's based on true story, and her students were part of a gang, and she was able to change their lives because she she exerted effort to know their learner to know her learners, right? And then they were able to publish, just to, or should I not, should I or should I not spoil you, or maybe, yeah, just discover, right, what the film will offer you. Okay, so as you notice, yeah, teaching is also what, if you can see there, teacher is working, and these are the products, right, of your hardship. You are, right? They say that teaching is the noblest of all professions because we make these professionals. Okay, and yeah, teaching is also a profession. The term professional is one of the most exalted in the English language, denoting, as it does, long and arduous years of preparation. Definitely, it's not easy. No program is easy, but also this one, a striving for excellence and a dedication to the public interest and commitment to moral and ethical values. If you can recall, Ma'am Sabrina even talked about teachers being reported, right, publicly, or being in the news just because of the negative thing. But how about, right, the good things that teachers do or have done? So next. Okay, what is or who is a professional teacher? A professional teacher is a licensed professional who possesses dignity and reputation with high moral values, of course, as well as technical and professional competence. That's why we have different specialization. And it also adheres, right, or this person adheres or observes and practices a set of ethical and moral principles. It's not enough that whether we just know all these code of ethics or laws, right? But how about practicing them? If you're familiar with the cliche, right? You have to do what you preach. We don't simply say it, but we have to practice it also. And at the same time, we practice standards and values of what the code of ethics. So next, why teaching is a profession. Okay, why teaching is a profession? Because we help students develop their what? Strong intellectual skills. The very first thing, usually you define teaching as a job, right? Or a mission to impart knowledge. I think that's a common definition for that. But more than that, we also provide essential service in any aspect, just like what ma'am was that? So, Melchin, I think, right? Sharing about her mom, dedicate or being generous to all these kids. Okay. Also, it requires what extensive, specialized training. Not like this, right? You can't simply go there to in the classroom, right? If you will notice, not all teachers, especially if they are not product of education program, like just a field and then go teaching, you realize that they lack pedagogical skills, right? If you notice teaching skills, for instance. So let's also try to understand because they're not part of this training or this preparation. And yeah, some that's also the reason we conduct inset or training, UI faculty training, to also what I mean train or they or do workshop to these teachers in other fields so that they will know it's not only about the technical skills that we teach them, but definitely it's about the holistic development of the student. So it also allows autonomy in decision making, and I've been practicing this for years now, that every time we will have an activity or deadline, I will ask my students to decide, right? As a majority. So it's not about just me having the authority in the classroom, but also my students to have their sense of ownership. So just like last time, I asked you, okay, would you like to have just maximum or minimum? And you also decide what to wear, and you chose what white color for today. Right. So in those matters, even deadline, usually I ask my students, oh, when do you like to submit this? Because most of the time I don't like this to be the same schedule, to be a burden, right? Same schedule with your other requirements. So you can give your excellent work here. And it also what emphasizes service to its clients. And who are our clients? Our students. They're our clients, right? And it identifies professional standards of behavior, right? And engages in self-governance. Self-governance is a big thing, right? Not only for a teacher, but for a person in general. When we have this self governance or what we call integrity, right? We should take care of it. Why? Once it's broken, it's really hard, right? To have it back. For example, right? As a teacher, for instance, right? Self govern, even if no one is watching, you have to do the right thing. Okay, even if not the principal is not around, she's not observing, you have to do the right thing. Why? Because that usually happens, right? Or maybe you've experienced this with your teachers, and then there's an observer roaming around, and you realize why suddenly mom is teaching, right? Why is she teaching now? She doesn't teach us, and so on. But you notice, because there's the supervisor or the superintendent, and so on. So I hope you'll also avoid hypocrisy on that part. Okay. Next, who is a teacher? Okay, who is a teacher? A teacher is someone who imparts knowledge. Just like what I said, someone with management qualities. It's so important, especially the what classroom management, right? You can't simply stand there and then start with the class right away or the lesson. you need to follow the preliminary activities in your lesson plan, checking of attendance, cleanliness of the environment, right? And other preliminary prayer and so on. Also, someone who empowers, right? I've I've been to many classes where we just had this like sermon style, but not really that I'm mad, but I really would like them to realize things. And yeah, we thought, oh, mom is just wasting time. No, it's actually lesson, right? Every time you're doing that pep talk, for instance, that is learning there. Okay. Also, who is a teacher? A great learner. A teacher is a great learner. So let's not stop learning. And just a tip, okay? This is my tip. Every time you learn something new, so as teachers, please share it right away. Okay? That's also what I've been doing since I even entered the master's degree program, like every week, because I will just attend like Saturday and Sunday classes, and then the rest of the weekdays, right? I will spend the days with my students, and I will, especially to my English majors, because yeah, it's more about our field of specialization. I will immediately share what I learned from the graduate school, and therefore I will not have regret. Right? I will not have regret if I forgot about this because I've already shared it. And next, someone who helps others to have new experiences. Not only what outside the classroom, but even inside the classroom, you will have your new experiences. Okay? You are also an agent of change, right? You are also an agent of change, a good role model. This is the very what high moral that we are taking care of, right? We are a good role model. We are initiator, right? We initiate things, and we are a coordinator of people and resources. That's why we are very great in what collaborative activities. We ask students to socialize, right, with their classmates. Someone who can support learning in different environments wherever you are, even if you are in a lagoon, right, or in the field, in our what's that oval, right? That will not stop you from learning. You are also an administrator, government representative, policy maker. When it comes to policy maker, maybe you're realize, mom, this is limited to those who are in DepEd or those who make modules and so on. You are a curricularist. You will have this course titled curriculum, the teacher in the school curriculum, and you will realize that as teacher, merely by being a teacher, you are a curricularist. You plan, right? You design IMs, you implement. That's the most important thing. That's why every time, right, there will be a revision, for instance, of curriculum guide and memos and all. You will notice that why these curriculum designers, right, design these IMs like this. Do they really know our students? Right? For instance, when we started implementing K to 12 curriculum, many teachers are against it. Right? Why? Because they know their students, right? They know their students are not the students in the United States or other countries who have implemented it. But later on, right, they try to understand that, oh, this is what a globally competitive student must require or must possess. And in that matter, yeah, I hope we'll be able to initiate. That's why we're also initiator, not only implementer of the curriculum. And yeah, a teacher is someone who's working in formal and non-formal education settings. So I salute again those among you who are teaching the young learners in the house, in the neighborhood, whether you are in formal setting or non-formal setting. Yeah, thank you for the clapping, Mamika. And yeah, someone responsible for the well-being of the pupils. You are responsible for that, and maybe you've what do you call this? You've seen this meme last Teacher's Day when we celebrated Teacher's Day, that there's a Mike Wazowski picture or other meme that talks about the usual prank to teachers on Teacher's Day, and then the students call the teacher, and then ma'am, there are two my classmates are fighting and so on, right? The usual reason. And then Mike Wazowski was surprised as a teacher. I think Mike Wazowski represents the teacher, and then Mike Wazowski was surprised because he saw that there were really students fighting. It's not a prank. So we are so responsible when it comes to another tip for that, okay? Because in this case, it's so important that yeah, we're facing it. But what if we are in a physical classroom and we need to write something on the board? This is a tip, huh? uh, Teachers, this is a tip. You shouldn't be facing the board when you write. Ma'am, how is it possible? I mean, you can look at what you're writing, but do not turn your back to your students. It's so important that you always manage and monitor them, right? I think it's a usual scenario of teachers having students picking on each other, right? Or punching each other. Okay. So a teacher is someone who guides and support children in all aspects. So here, okay, goal is service. So that's also Ma'am Sabrina there. You realize, oh, sorry. Okay, and yeah, teaching is the process of attending to people's needs, experiences, and feelings. Imagine even that part, the emotional support that we served our students and making specific involvement to help them learn particular things. Teaching is what service. Okay, so main function, right? We have the teacher and the student. Our main function is to provide guidance and training, and it is our interaction between the teacher and the students, and you in the future and your students. Okay, it's a tripolar process as well. This one dipolar, this one is tripolar. So teacher, student, and the learning environment. The learning environment is not just the literal school, right, or the physical school, but even this one, right? Any learning environment calls for a tripolar process of learning and of teaching and learning. And as you can see here, this one is tetrapolar. So the teacher-student dipolar, the teacher-student learning environment, right? Tripolar. This one is tetrapolar process of teaching and learning. So we have here the student, the center, of course, and then the teacher, learning environment, and of course, teaching methods, right? It's so important. Teaching methods should not be neglected on this part because you can say, but not any, or maybe people say that anyone can be a teacher as long as you teach and so on. But there are teaching methods that we need to consider. For example, a new law, right, that we're not anymore allowed to do the corporal punishment to our students. But still, you see, right, some teachers throw in the erasers and chalk and other things. So that's not anymore allowed. Here, yeah, talks about the engaged teaching and learning capacities and skills within the three domains of teaching. Three domains talk about the teacher, schooling colleagues, and classroom and students. So we have here teacher should be self-efficient, be emotionally intelligent, that's so important, huh? Increase in enthusiasm and motivation, and increase in stress management skills. It's so important that we manage our stress level. Okay, I told you, you may do the breathing exercise pattern. You have to release everything you feel. You have to also set aside your personal issues when you teach. Professionalism should come naturally from us. Classroom and students also increase in social and emotional skills. In Even in America, they are very particular with this subject, social emotional learning, right? Or SEL. Maybe you've attended international webinars. They talk about that, and it's so important, right? Maybe the student thought, oh, it should just be about math and English and science, but they didn't know that when you ask about their social and emotional well-being, they thought they're not learning, but they are learning. So another, yeah, self-management skills, motivation for learning. We'll talk about that. Academic skills. And school and colleagues are also part, right? We thought, when I become a teacher, I'm just a teacher. No, you're also a faculty member, meaning you are part, right, of your organization, of the faculty. So it's so important. But just a tip again, okay, based on experience. Okay, we can't really, I mean, we can choose somehow our school, but when it comes to the group where we will belong to, We really need to be, yeah, professional, at the same time careful. When I started, just to tell you this, okay, when I started teaching, I was actually warned by my former teachers in the college as well, because I teach in a different campus. And then they told me, because I think even in any school, right, there's politics, right? Maybe you'd agree. So they told me, okay, just, I mean, do your job there, do not nod. Okay, it's so important, huh? When two people are talking, or when someone talks to you about another person, and of course that's, I don't think that's ethical. That's unethical. Definitely, that's gossip. So you have to be careful not to nod, because even your nodding says that you agree. You have to be careful, when it comes to that, and that can be used against us. So let's be careful. Huh? Just a tip for future purpose. And yeah, relationship skills, cultural responsiveness, teamwork, and collaboration is so important. When you are tasked, again, teaching is not your only, or teaching your students is not your only job there, or your mission, but even in the faculty, or even in your college or school, you will be asked, okay, you have to be on this part, you will be organizers of, you have to look at them as what, training ground. Okay, you have to look at them as training ground, because they're just preparing you for what, maybe for administration, or sorry, or administrative position, right, and other things, and that takes you but far. And yeah, conflict management skills should be increased as well. Okay, and next, this 5 dimensions of engaged teaching principles and practices. So we can say that we have an engaged teaching if we can what? Engage the self observer. We can also be, or the student can be what? Present. It's being present, even us, it's being present, establishing respectful boundaries. I don't know if I share this to you, but yeah, a student of mine even asked, Ma'am, how can we limit, right? How can we limit, or at least put barrier, right, or limitation when it comes to our relationship with our students, right, especially if you are being so close, okay, to one another, they're so comfortable talking to you and sharing with you their issues and so on. Ma'am, how can we limit that? I always tell my students, you need to still build a wall, but not as high that it will cover your face. So that means, again, right, build a wall not as high that it will cover your face. Why? That means, okay, you can still, not a wall not covering your face means what? You are still approachable. You can still be approached by people. However, since there's still a wall, you are still their teacher. So, to some, I've learned, to some, they like to be called kuya or ate, but I hope, right, you will still remain ma'am and sir to these kids. Okay? Don't, because that, I mean, that, what do you call this? Uh, Abbreviated title, right? For instance, or that title of yours, when they call you ma'am and sir, that will remind them that, oh, you are still my teacher, so I need to respect you. That's respectful boundaries and developing emotional capacity, cultivating an open heart, especially to those, I mean, the most active, the quietest person. They have their reasons. Okay, so this is by Laura Weaver and Mark Wilding. Next. Okay, 5 dimensions, just to reiterate. Uh, this is to cultivate an open heart when we express warmth, kindness, care, compassion, cultivating connection, teacher, students, to even student to student. Huh? This also means intentionally engaging in practices that build trust, definitely, and inclusive learning communities. Also, this picture shows, right? It means what? Engaging the self observer. We cultivate the aspect of ourselves that can notice, observe. We need to be very observant. Ma'am, I have 50 students in the class. How will I be able to observe all of them? You can and you will, right? By what? Getting to know them and then asking why are they acting like that and so on, but not prejudging them, okay? We need to reflect on our thoughts, beliefs, right? Even our biases, we have to respect, even if you have this belief and you know that this belief can be affected by different opinions. You have to listen, right? You have to listen to the opinion of your student. I remember with my advisory class, a year ago, I think. We talked about it's our homeroom, but we were talking about integrity and or self-governance. And he even raised this concern about the cursing, right? Because for instance, this the short cursing word, or even the G word or the T, right? And then he told me he actually stood there, and then he defended, "Ma'am, for my friends it's fine. It's a mere expression," right? And he even mentioned about the old people not being on trend and so on. It's not about that. I mean, values, right? These morals should not be taken for granted, right? And should not be a case to case basis. But in that case, since I really need to hear him out, okay, well, if that's okay with your friends, not in the class, but if that's okay, right, with your friends, and they are, make sure that they are not, what, offended. If they feel offended, you better stop doing that, right? Because maybe to some, oh, I'm just afraid of my friend and so on, right? I'm afraid if I will be able to tell my, because I've received PMs, I received personal messages from my students telling me, "Mom, I'm really not comfortable with them calling me that," but he's shy to tell the class. Okay, but I am happy, I'm glad that he entrusted me with that. Okay, so we have to be very careful and listener. Okay, so what else? Yeah, next. And also, since that's about what communication, I emphasize, okay, because that's mere communication, and I emphasize about the communication process. Okay, it's about what thinking of what the listener might feel. If the listener is fine with it, then maybe it's fine. Maybe it's just expression for you. But if it's not, right, he felt bad about it, then you have to be sensitive enough. Or even, right, even just by nonverbal, you are language teachers, right? Even just by seeing the nonverbal act of these people you talk to or your students, you will know definitely how are you going to treat them well. Okay, and next, being present, right? Engaging the ongoing process, bring attention to the present moment, and learning to manage distractions. We need to do that, right? We need to manage distractions. Mom, but how about when I teach, for instance, and I was really at the verge of talking about things, and then suddenly I have a lot of drifting thoughts, right? Additional thoughts that you really would like to share, especially if we're so talkative. Mom, how about if I experience mental block? How will I manage distraction? Okay, this is a technique, huh? I will share this to you. So, as a teacher, I experienced that. I am not excused, right, or exempted from that. I experienced that, but what do I do? This is a tip, huh? I ask my students questions, or I ask them to ask me questions. So in that way, I can recall what I'm saying. Okay? Are you still following? Can you give me a thumbs up there? Okay, thank you. Right, that's a tip, huh? That's a tip. So instead of killing time because you experience mental block, okay, you may do that. Okay? And yeah, we have to be responsive and aware and focused when it comes to these qualities, right? I expect you to really listen to your students' answers, right? If you can recall, I always react on what you say. I'm so sorry. Sometimes that's not good, right? Sometimes that creates mental block on the part of my students. But I'm really like that. I'm really into immediate feedback, right? Because I would like the student to feel that we are simply conversing, that he's not reciting at all in front of many students or classmates. So in that case, right, I try to be very what conversationalist, okay, and bring attention to the present moment and learning. We need to be aware, responsive, right, focus, and engage. And later on, maybe I will show you 100 ways to praise your students, right? Because later we'll discuss that. Next. Okay, here we have to establish respectful boundaries. Sorry, this is just what the analysis of the 5 dimensions earlier. So we can dig deeper into each element and yeah, respectfully establishing clear and compassionate boundaries of ourselves. Self-discipline is also important. Sometimes you'll say, Ma'am, ang kulit-kulit kasi gusto ko na siyang kurutin and so on. Or pingutin and all. You have to have your self-control. Okay? Self-control. And yeah, in the classroom and in our school, even communities, it includes supporting students and the learning community. Okay? Just like what Ma'am Sabrina did, right? Imagine the motivational words there. Papasa ako, papasa kami. And since I've also watched and rewatched the video for so many times in years, I've been able to memorize even her lines there. So next, yeah, develop emotional capacity. If you see in this picture, right, different emotions are there, and we are capable, right, of experiencing and even of being vulnerable with different emotions. We have to develop emotional intelligence. If you can recall, I shared to achieve this, you have to be in the moment. These are steps to be emotionally intelligent. Be in the moment. Be aware of what you feel. Okay? Be aware of what you feel. Label the emotion. Am I sad? Because sometimes we're like this, right? Maybe you've experienced what I experienced before. Or sometimes I just don't feel like talking to anyone. But I'm not mad. Right? Yeah, we have to label it. We have to be aware. What am I feeling right now? Am I mad? Am I happy? Right? Is this true happiness? Is this joy? Or am I just pretending and so on? And then after being aware, after labeling it, you have to manage it. That's that is now the time you make steps. Okay, you make steps in order to resolve if that's a negative emotion, and then enhance it if that's positive emotion. And yeah, even our emotional range, cultivating emotional boundaries so we can effectively address a range of feelings in ourselves and others. It also includes supporting students in developing their capacity to express, because many students are shy and afraid to express their feelings, right? But here you are saying, it's okay, it's okay. Take your time, share that to me, share that to me. Your emotions are valid, right? Your feelings are valid, but we have to do something about it. So, in those words. Next, 10 reasons people become teachers. Okay, we have here to work with kids because you love kids or you like to work with teens. Another, sorry, you just have to take note of these, right? I didn't enumerate all these reasons here. And also because you have these in your IM, right? We also enjoy what variety of our work. If you were my class last week, whom I shared the reason also I'm into teaching because it's not a routinary task. Yeah, it's a variety of work. And every class is unique. Every student is unique. And to share one's love of the subject, if you are really into that field, right? Into that specialization, your major, you can share it. You can share your love. Okay, to have fun also. Okay, to make a difference, to be a lifelong learner. That's the seven. To enjoy both independence and collaboration. Why? You like that, right? Oh, I'm a teacher. Usually you're the boss in the classroom, right? Not maybe not in a company, but in the classroom you are the boss. Okay. Also, reason is to join a global community. Maybe you're called to do that. I've heard that one of my students is actually part of the SK. Okay, SK, I think SK chairman. He's an SK chairman, and he's even a leader. He's a part of organization leadership organizations and so on, and to be at the forefront of the changing world. So that at least go brings us back to Mom Sabrina's talk. Okay, attributes of an effective teacher behavior and professional. Okay, so we will have first here. Okay, these are mastery for the professional qualities. We have your mastery of the subject field one teaches. Okay, you need to have mastery of the subject matter. It's not simply, of course, all about what just chit chatting to your right to your students, but also this even understanding the nature of the learner. First event of the 9 events of instruction by Robert Gagne is to know the learner. Right, you have to know the learner. Her That's the usual way we do is we conduct diagnostic tests, right, to know the level where he's at and so on. Also, understanding of the teaching principles and skills in the use of techniques. So these are the pedagogic styles that one size does not fit all. Take note. For example, in my practice teaching, fourth year college, I am given 7 sections. I was given 7 sections or 7 classes. It doesn't mean that I'm teaching the same topic or lesson. It doesn't mean what they're the same or I will receive the same feedback. Right? That's why what's your usual scenario during practice teaching or final demo of your substitute teacher? It's what? Or the pre-service teacher? It is to, usually it is to choose the best section for the demo teaching. Right? So another, right? Someone possesses digital technology skills. Okay, it's so important, especially now, right? I know that somehow it needs a practice for us to be familiar with the buttons, features, and so on. But again, let's just be like Dora, right? Again, be explorer of these things. We need to also have general understanding of other branches of knowledge, multidisciplinary, we call it that, right? Maybe you've been to classes where the teacher talks about English and then go to science, then go to health, and go to what world issues and so on. And then you realize, is this still about the subject, right? But now you know that, oh, we really need to have general understanding of other branches. I remember my classmate in my master's program, while the professor was talking, he was able to create a mind map of all the discussions or topics or fields that our professor was discussing. And then I looked at his yellow paper, and then there were a lot like health, and then we talked about this and that, or the dance helical model in speech communication, for instance, right? But you realize, oh, it makes sense as long as you can what go back, as long as you can go back to the main topic, and as long as you can relate. It's not really about segue, right? It's not segue. It's definitely what do you call this? Being I mean, having the idea of depth and breadth of knowledge. And yeah, understanding and appreciation of teaching profession. So again, salute to all those who have received the calling and who are still in the height, right? Or pitch of passion when it comes to teaching. So I appreciate all of you. Now, let's go to personal qualities, right? Again, last time I asked you to ask me personal professional questions because it's not about you. For example, you're all teachers in a faculty. You are unique, right? One maybe has an important skill or talent or quality that another teacher needs, right? You're not the same. I mean, you have your own what quality to present to other teachers and even to your students. So these are personal qualities. You need to have pleasing personal appearance, of course, right? But maybe you will tell me, ma'am, how about those teachers who really don't dress properly and so on, and they feel like being that, right? As long again that you learn about these, right? You learn about the speaker's appearance as a barrier to good listening. You learn about that in your oral comm, and you realize in this case, you really need to take note that you need to look presentable. Okay, courtesy and pleasant voice. I am just maybe amazed, or I just appreciate those students who will leave a comment or who will send me PM that they love my OOTDs and my speaking voice, even though I myself I don't like I hate my voice. I don't know, it's awkward to hear. And yeah, intelligence, emotional stability, and self control, personal quality, sympathy, kindness, helpfulness, and patience. Okay, not all teachers are helpful. I can say that. Okay, I mean, some teachers are afraid of accountability. It's what we call accountability, right? Or not all teachers are generous when it comes to their materials and so on. But in my case, as long as I have that, I share it. Okay. Just recently, I mean, former not a fellow faculty member, but also part of, I mean, graduate of co-ed who's been teaching for so many years in a high school. And then he asked me for these materials, and it's really a good quality, personal quality for teachers to share their materials. So let's not be what greedy about these things. Okay. Next, yeah, be patient. Huh? That's very important. Another, we have, okay, integrity. Just like what I told you, huh? Even if no one is watching, be early, right? Sometimes, wala naman si principal, I can be late and so on. No, huh? Let's be early. Let's be trustworthy. This is so important, how when your student told you, ma'am, I will only share this to you. Would you not share this to others? Please don't, huh? Please don't. You know, it's inevitable for faculty members in the faculty room to talk about their students, right? Maybe for the sake of, you know, what do you call this? I mean, asking or eliciting, right? Advices or suggestions. But when it comes to telling, that's the section I hated. I tagged them noisy class or noisy section. Please don't. Okay, please don't. Not only because a student might hear you, but because you have this integrity. And yeah, and honesty and loyalty. Another, flexibility, creativity, and resourcefulness. This part is so important. What if this doesn't work? Right? What can you use? If you can recall, right, in your, or every time you'll have your demo teaching, if you had, may I ask for like reaction? If you have had your demo teaching, at least, or micro teaching in the classroom? Never, not yet. There's one. Okay. Ma'am Mika or Micah. Okay, Sir Ram. Yeah, so I think, right, you will treat this as a training ground for you to be flexible. What if my PowerPoint will not work? What if I encounter this problem? Make sure to find solutions. Always. I this is what I usually tell my students. You need to have plan A to Z. Maybe I'm exaggerating, right? Plan A to Z, ma'am? Really? There is such thing? Yeah, implied meaning is what? You are not limited to two plans, right? Sometimes say if plan A doesn't work, there's plan B. How about, right? If plan B fails also, what's your plan C? So it should be plan A to plan Z. Right? Even when you present in class, you will tell the teacher, ma'am, close pa po yung rentahan ng projector. What else? This is our usual scenario, right? At PEP. Ma'am, the extension cord is not long enough to reach the outlet and so on. So we have these reasons, but as teachers, we need to be very flexible. Just to share with you this, a student of mine in a campus, I'm not into, because I support my fellow teachers, right? I tried my best to defend them to my students, but of course sometimes it's really inevitable that they will share it to me, right, what their teacher did. And I don't say bad things to the teacher because I still respect him. This was what happened. Okay, the student told me, ma'am, you know what, sir, blah blah, forgot his flash drive. Okay, and then what happened in your class if you forgot it? And our lessons were there. And instead of teaching us what's supposed to be in the flash drive, he gave us, like, the logic questions, right? Like if you were if everything is black and then all those sorts. And then you know that it's not right. Okay, it's not an excuse for you to present other things except for that. Your brain is in here, right? It's not in the flash drive, it's in here. So I felt sad when that happened, when a student shared that to me, right? Because they even had the courage to report to me and so on. So again, let's be flexible and resourceful. Next, sociability, friendliness, and cooperativeness. We need to be sociable. Not sociable enough that, irritates. Some people are not into that, right? Some people are not into, too much. If you're familiar with the term FC and so on, we need to still know our relationship, right? Our relationship with others. And we don't want to be tagged as FC or feeling close, right? So Yeah, let's just act properly. And yeah, let's be friendly and let's be cooperative. And fairness, impartiality, and tolerance. This on the part of our students. We have to be fair. In my case, I like 2 years of teaching up to 3 years. I received a comment I have favoritism and I'm not really good at names most of the time because I have hundreds of students. And then I felt sad because I really didn't give what? I really didn't treat them with favoritism. Maybe they thought that's why I practice the systematic calling, the random systematic calling, and then I asked you, okay, Joshua, give me a number, 1 to 5, and then I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why I do this. So everyone will have a chance, not only the ones who raise their hands. Okay? So next, sense of humor, cheerfulness, and enthusiasm. I don't know if I have this great sense of humor because I don't think I have. Every time I will crack a joke in English, my student will just be staring at me, and they need to tell me, "Ma'am, you need to give us warning or heads up if you will give joke or throw joke," because they thought I'm still serious, and I just appreciate those who laugh at me, even if I deliver my joke in English. And yeah, cheerfulness and enthusiasm. I don't know if you're the class whom I shared about the student, a class. Okay, my they're now LPTs, they're now teachers, but when they were my first year students, they were so comfortable with me that every meeting they were laughing and smiling. And then there was one time I just didn't feel smiling that day, and I walked into the room with poker face. Did have I shared this? Sorry. Can you give me a wow react? Okay, so Ma'am Steph, yeah, thank you for the reaction. So I haven't shared this, and then right, I walked into the room, and then they started presenting. I sat there at the center, right, with U shape again. That's my favorite seating arrangement, U shape. But still, I can see there are, they were still reciting, but I can feel the tension in the classroom because I wasn't smiling, and they were used to us what laughing and smiling and just being so light. I don't know, but I just would like to deliver a poker face. And you know what happened? A student started presenting. She hadn't spoken a word, huh? But she just stood there. She started shaking, shivering, and running outside the room. And then asked a classmate, "Hey, accompany her. What happened? What happened?" And then I asked the class, "What's the problem? I mean, are you all nervous?" Because of course I am very sensitive with their, feeling. I felt the tension. And then I asked, are you all nervous? And then everybody, the class, answered, "Yes, ma'am." And then I asked, "Why?" They answered back, "Ma'am, kasi beast mode ka po." Because that was a trend expression before. They called me, "Ma'am, beast mode." What? I wasn't even shouting. I told them, I'm not even shouting. Right? And because the other teacher shouted them literally. And in my case, I don't get mad like that. I just delivered a poker face. And then they told me that, "Ma'am, beast mode ka po kasi." Right? And it really affects, even when you greet them like good morning, it will really affect the mood of the class at the very beginning. But if you will, well, in my case, that's automatic. As I enter the room, I greet them. Good afternoon, right? Be said English, and so on. I greet them with that. Next, so let's be cheerful because that really affects our students' mood. And next. Okay, 8 habits of highly effective 21st century teachers. Okay. In this case, I will highly encourage. Okay, I will encourage what your participation. Okay, because I am doing more of the talking, and this should be, student centered. Oh, there are messages in the chat, Mary. Good morning, ma'am. Sorry if I would not be able to continue with the class. It's okay. Scheduled time. Oh, vaccine. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you for sending me message. So, may I start calling? Okay. Would you like to tell me how? Okay. So, my question is very specific. How are you be able to apply these 8 habits of highly effective, right, 21st century teachers? So, habit of adapting. Can you give me, let's try to do that here, okay? My technique, systematic random sampling. Ma'am Steph, can you give me number 1 to 5? Thank you.
Um, to apply in ano po?
Give me number. I will choose someone who will answer this. Thank you.
Okay. Number any random number, ma'am.
Only 1 to 5.
Number 1 po.
Oh, number 1. Okay, Ma'am Jean, are you there? Is this Ma'am Jean?
Hello, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning. Okay, may I ask for your idea? How are we going to practice this habit of adapting?
In my opinion, ma'am, since we're currently facing the 21st century, and today, as we all know, we have this new normal in education, and
Correct?
so it's important to adapt different resources,
Mhm,
and also the thing you said about flexibility, so that we will have different options to
mhm,
take, not just with what we're used to, but with different um,
It's okay.
different options to take. That's all.
Great, great. Yeah, perfect. Right? Perfect answer to that, especially in this time of pandemic and new normal. Right? We need to adapt to changes. Again, English majors, we need to know that when we say adapt with A, right? We use it, but we modify. There's modification, right? But if we adopt, like literally O, right? You just get it, you just take it and use it without modification. In this case, since we adapt, right? We, we accept new normal, but we also modify it in our terms. Okay. Next, can you give me number, Ma'am Jean? 1 to 5.
Num- Number 3, ma'am.
Number 3. 1, 2, 3. Linsangan, you there? Can you tell us how are we going to practice the habit of being visionary? I sorry, you're glitching. Maybe it's your signal. Okay, maybe ask you to type your answer in the chat box. Thank you. Okay, thank you. You may type your answers in the chat box so everyone can read. Thank you, thank you. Okay, next. How about okay, another number? Steph, give me number.
Number 5, ma'am.
Number 5. Okay, we have. Before that, let's read the chat. Okay. Ah, if I want to be able to continue with the class today, it's fine, it's fine. So, she's still here. Okay, number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mika or Maika.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi. Morning.
So in learning, we must we have lifelong. We must of course learn from our students
Mm-hmm.
and educators. So lifelong learners, teachers must continue to absorb. Of course, we have to absorb experiences from our students,
Right.
as well as knowledge and endeavor to them. And of course, we have to learn and adapt into combining to the
Mm-hmm.
change in learning.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
ma'am.
you. I think Ma'am Maika still discuss about adapting habit, but when it comes to being visionary, right? Our imagination, you know what's the tagline of the cream sticks? Imagination mo ang limit, right? So our imagination is a crucial component of the educator of today and tomorrow, and we must look across disciplines. We must not limit ourselves into our discipline through the curricula, and we must see the potential in the emerging tools of the web. That's why you will try all these things, right? For your student to be fun, interactive, and so on. Ma'am Micah, give me a number, 1 to 5.
Mom, it's Mika po.
Sorry,
Sorry, it's spelling Micah in the Bible, but Mika. Number 4.
number 4. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sarina, ma'am, are you there? Hi, ma'am, Sarina. Let me try to unmute. Oops, sorry. We're still in number 3, the habit of collaborating. So how about another number? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sir Joshua. Okay, how are we
Yes, ma'am.
to practice the habit of collaborating?
Teachers, one of the is collaboration po. So teachers need to work together to share informations or workload po instead of doubling their efforts po. Tapos po is also teachers need to collaborate with their students so that teachers can learn also from them po.
Mm-mm. How? Can you give a specific scenario
Of ano po?
of that collaboration activity?
So for example po is um yung so collaboration with students po is for example po is we need to examine we need to know their backgrounds or their
Multiple.
so para po malaman po natin yung behavior kung bakit po sila nagbe-behave ng ganun so that we can know them and also we can know how to interact or approach them properly po.
Correct, correct. Thank you. That's correct, Sir Joshua. Right? And even us educators, we need to practice the habit of sharing our materials, contributing to the project, even inventing of new things. Right? Thank you. Sir Joshua, number 1 to 5?
5 po.
5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rika. Ma'am Rika. Are you there?
Hello, ma'am.
So, would you like to explain, or please explain, the habit of taking risks? How are we going to apply it?
Ma'am, hindi po ba learning?
Pardon?
Kasi di ba po yung 5 is learning here sa...
Still number 4. Or would you like learning? It's fine. It's fine. You may choose.
Okay po. I'll choose learning na lang po.
Okay.
Um, for me, we should be more open in learning new things, especially when someone is trying to help us by teaching us and giving us more information. Giving us more information and ways to work better as all po.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, generally speaking, right, we need to always, better ourselves and always just compare ourselves with our past self, not with anyone else, but only with our previous self. Okay, let us acknowledge the answer of Ma'am Diane here. Okay, there are a lot of types of learners, so a teacher should be imaginative, very good, right, for being visionary, in order to make variety of ways to teach a lesson to a student, and it would make a class more fun and interactive. Great, right? Yeah, we shouldn't limit ourselves to the things that we used to do. For instance, when I taught business writing and correspondence to college students. At first, I think I've done it for 2 sems. I thought the portfolio, right, would be very helpful and that will really tell me that they learn about letter writing. And you know what? As I checked their portfolios, I realized I don't think they're learning because some even cheated, like they just follow the format and that's not what we talked about. So what I did, Of course, yeah, we had to be visionary, we need to take risks. And I tried doing another style there. So instead of having the portfolio or compendium of business letters as their final requirement, okay, it became a practical exam. Like as a class, they need to pick. So no cheating as well. And because it's very what objective in terms of the rubric, but the content is subjective. They need to pick the type of letter and they need to write a letter about it. In that way, right? Definitely I will know, oh, you learned something. Imagine that's only one letter, huh? Aside from the portfolio, right? Instead of doing the portfolio, that's many, but I don't think they're learning. So what I did, practical examination. So that's an example. Okay, next time when I ask you for the other habits, can you give us more, even if you're a student, I know maybe you serve your teachers or maybe in your term, right, as future teachers, maybe you've started these habits. Okay, next we have, this one, of course. I would, right, when I say give example or explain, I'm expecting for a very specific, right, or concrete answer. So next we have habit of communicating. Can you give me number, Sir Jameson? 1 to 5.
3.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Sir Marwin. Sir John.
Ayun po, in our career, uh,
Mhm.
syempre, we have to be communicative with our students, and
Mhm.
we should have to give them the characteristic that we should have to interact with each other, not just a few standing there na
Mhm.
sila lang yung nakikinig, but
Yeah.
we should have give them chance to express themselves, not just ourselves, um, and also uh, when you imply being communication in your classroom,
Mhm.
there will be learning, and there will your class will be more productive and creative than ever. That's
Okay.
all.
So, thank you, Sir Marwan. That's great explanation. However, I remind everyone to be more specific. So, can you give us concrete scenario when it comes to what a 21st century teacher being so communicative or fluent when it comes to technologies? Can you give me one scenario?
For example, in uh, in recitation,
Mm-hmm.
uh, teachers are just like longing for the what we call that, the only answer. Being a teacher, you should have give them chance to explain themselves more than just their answers, so that they could realize, or they could um think more, or to yeah, to think more than the answers they gave to you. That's
Okay, yeah, correct. Right, perfect answer. Why? Because most of the time, students have their own justification and always do that. As long as they can justify it, they can defend it with evidences and better explanation. I definitely accept my students' answer. So very good. Right, good, Sir John Marwin. That's great. Great to hear from you. I hope we'll apply that, right, in the future. So as we facilitate, stimulate, and control, even moderate the class discussion, it's so important that we listen attentively to our students' answers and then we validate their answers because we have these what we call the feedback, right? The verbal feedback that they can even evaluative and descriptive feedback. Thank you. Can you give me a number, Sir John? I think someone raised a hand, Sir Ram. Would you like to say something on number 7?
yes. Ay, yung ano po ma'am, number 4 kasi hindi pa po nasasagot.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for reminding us. Taking risks, right? I think I
Yes
mentioned.
po, taking risk po. For me po, as a teacher, you must take risk po.
Mhm.
You must try everything you can do in order to educate your students po. Kasi pag once na take tayo ng risk, there are possibility na maka-create tayo ng mga bagong strategy, successful strategy, and also innovation for for our class or for our lesson po. For example po, kunyari, magte-take risk ako whether ano bang approach ang dapat kong gawin sa students ko. Dapat ba akong maging open sa kanila or dapat ba akong medyo maging strict? So, finding the result of that will makakuha ko ng idea kung paano ko
Mhm.
i-handle yung class ko. So,
Correct.
ayun po.
Okay. Yeah.
Narinig ba ako?
Yes, yes, exactly. Very clear, very clear. And you even reminded me of something when it comes to doing that. When I ask my students to, ask questions, right? I don't know if I shared this during the orientation, but I will give you a tip again. Okay, just tell me if you have heard this before from me, but I would like to reiterate if I did. So, in my case, my technique is when as I will ask my students, I will dare my students to ask me questions. And that doesn't mean I know all the answers, right? So what I will do, have I shared this? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, what I will do is while they're constructing their questions, while they're delivering their question, what I am doing is I am praying. I pray. I ask the Lord, Lord, give me the answer to this question because, of course, we're not expecting, right? We're not expecting. What if that question is not the question we're expecting? So, right, you need to expect not the worst, right, but the best question that the student will ask us. So, in that case, right, I pray and then I ask, and then in my surprise as well, I was able to answer the question. Okay, and take risks when it comes to doing other things, right? Why? This is another tip, huh, teachers, or suggestion or advice. When you start teaching, not all the time you will be able to handle classes that you like or subjects that you like to teach, right? Sometimes you don't have choice, you just have to accept. Then that's what you call taking risks, right? Why? Sometimes the senior teachers, if you know what I mean, the senior teachers are so comfortable, or the teachers who have what years of experience, sometimes they like to teach the same thing because they memorize it. I mean, they know it by heart even when they're sleeping. I think they know what to say, right? They don't need to read anything from the book or right in that matter. And in our case, if you as new teachers, you will be future teachers. I mean, you are future teachers, sorry, right? You shouldn't say no to those offerings. You need to grab them, okay? And normally this happens, normally this happens. You are teaching the subject, right? You didn't really learn about in college, for instance. Do you agree? You will agree to me in the future when you're given that subject, and then I realize, I didn't even learn this in college, and now I'm teaching this. Why? Because, what, right? The ones you're teaching, the subjects you're teaching, right, will be the topics you will be learning as well, and then you realize, oh, I can teach this because I studied this one by yourself, right? Most of the time. Thank you, Sir Ram, for that. Next, number. Give me number, Sir Ram. Thank you.
Number 5 po.
Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sir Rain.
Good
Okay.
morning, ma'am. Modeling behavior po.
Mhm.
Okay. When you're a teacher, you must expect your students that you will expect your students that they look up to you and they will copy, not they will rely not just on your verbal lessons, but also on what you do, how you respond to certain situations as a human. And when the students the start of growth comes from the art of imitation, and we must bear that in mind as instructors.
Correct, correct, right? Yeah, thank you for
Narinig.
emphasizing that word imitation. That's correct, Sir Rain. Why? Because let's be careful, huh? Yeah, imitation maybe can still be different from mimicking, okay? Well, when it comes to imitation, you are just relying on that person to be your model, right? But not to mimic, huh? Let's be careful with this. Some students, they mimic the teachers, right? Not only they impersonate, but they mimic. So, for example, the teacher is fond of the verbal filler, perhaps, or me sometimes, or most of the time, I notice when I watch the recording, I use actually, and then I become mindful of it. I need to be aware of my verbal fillers or a commonly used word in talking. In that case, right, let's try not to mimic, but okay, maybe because you are just fond of that teacher, so you try to not really sound like her, right? But you have your own, you by your own style. I'm just surprised that when I taught these students at PP Pulilan, right? And I don't think they were aware at first that I know this teacher. And then when they found out, they even told me that, Mom, you know what? I see him in you. Like his way of teaching, and because he's my former teacher, and then they tell me, Mom, you're like Sir blah, and when it comes to what explaining or maybe talking and so on. So for me, I'm really glad, but it's not about mimicking him. Maybe it's just a matter of the way I explain and things like that. So next, for the last habit, effective habit of a 21st century teacher, give me numbers, or rain. You may just
Five.
five. Okay, one, two, three, four, five. Sir James, Jameson. Sorry.
Uh, Good morning, ma'am. For my understanding of the habit of leading as 21st century educators, I think we are as bold as the statement as I may say, we are the leaders of the world because like as you said, ma'am, we are the one who influences the different learners
Oh my
that
god.
will become engineers or doctors in the future. So like it's an important habit to have as an educator because that is our main role as teachers. And aside from that, leading our students to good habits or good morals at the same time with with great knowledge that they are encouraged or motivated to understand. We we will we will be able to really motivate them and guide them in the future as new founders of the society.
Wow. Yeah.
That is all, ma'am.
Correct. Very explicit explanation to that. Thank you. That's right. Right. If you agree, that's great news to hear that yes, we are leaders of this society. So it's quite heartbreaking when we fail, right? This job or this mission to do or to elicit to our students. Sometimes it's so heartbreaking, right? When you say, "Oh my, I told him to listen," and then I am here not listening to their opinions and so on. So let's be leaders, right, of this society of our students, so they know that they can also take accountability when it comes to leadership and like clear goals and objectives, right? This leadership is crucial to the success not only of our success but definitely our students success. Thank you, Sir James. So let's continue. Let's talk about roles of teachers in the 21st century. So according to the dictionary, a role can be an actor's part, one's function, and what a person is appointed or expected to do. And in our daily lives, we fulfill roles. Right? Even at home, even someone message sent me a private message here that you need to attend to a family member. Yeah, that's part of our role. And even in the teaching profession, we have our roles. So most common teachers' roles are controller. If you notice, right? We are the controller of the class. So we can take it literally, all right, at the moment. I control everything here. I control the screen. I control whom to call, whom to recite, and so on. But yeah, we are the complete charge of the class. We are the person in charge, right? Pag may nagsabunutan dyan, may nagsapakan, may nagditch ng class, and so on, you are accountable, right, to their behavior. And we assume, right, this role, when new language is being introduced, even that one, an accurate reproduction of drilling techniques, right? If these are needed in the class, for example, the language they speak, sometimes, right? I remember, I don't know if you experienced this from that teacher, but when growing, not really growing up, but after graduating from college, I I've been practicing saying Merriam-Webster dictionary. And then when I enter master's degree program, my professor just said, okay, just look for Merriam-Webster and so on. Well, it's really not a matter of that. Only the person, because that's a person's name. Take note, English majors, the only person who can tell us the pronunciation of a name or proper noun is the person himself. Okay? So, we cannot simply correct someone if someone pronounces Levigotsky or Levigotsky and so on. Don't fight. They're the same person, okay? And usually to major, right? I think known Englishes in the word British English and American English, right? Usually, ma'am, is it finance or finance? They're the same. One is British, one is American. So don't be like, hey, you're wrong. That's finance and finance. No, right? We have world Englishes. You have to explain that to them. So, right? So there are other ways of saying things and that can also mean the same thing. And that's what's important, right? We are understood. Okay? So next, prompter. Okay, we are also the prompter in the class. And how are we going to be like that when we encourage students to participate like this? I use the random systematic sampling technique to call you so that you will not have excuse and so on. But I understand there are drifting thoughts, there are external barriers, there are people walking around, there are what needs to attend to. But right, you can still imagine how flexible you are in this time, right? We encourage you to participate, to make suggestions because we need to be very good decision makers. But I myself, I have a hard time doing that. I always need opinion from other people and I acknowledge their advices. But I am also known to be a person who doesn't just take the defeat, but okay, I am practicing that. So don't judge me, I'm practicing that. I always tell I learn to be very good listener. When it comes to being very good listener, we listen to what understand, not to merely respond because I'm fond of just responding. So as a teacher, I practice to just listen and take everything in and just make comments afterward. And what else? Yeah, about how students may proceed in an activity. We need to be also the resource, right? If you have that, go give it. I don't know. I don't understand why still some teachers don't like sharing their materials. I don't understand that, right? It's your right. For example, the syllabus or right? Yeah, the core syllabus or in-depth curriculum guide. I don't understand why they don't like sharing the syllabus, why they don't like the students to know what they're about to learn. And that's why I'm even surprised that the university even allowed you to access online team correspondence team, right? To access what? The IM. All these are there. Why do I need to present this again, right? But this is supplemental. Why? Not all examples I'm giving are there in the IM, right? But the worry correspondence team, even if they're just in the, focusing on the module, they will still learn things and they can actually activate their creating level, thinking skill, the highest level of the HOTS, right? Why? Because even if I will give my practical, real life examples or experiences to that specific topic or element, they can create their own, right? And if you're familiar with constructivist theory or constructivism, right? That is where that enters. Okay, next. Okay, teacher is also what? A 21st century teacher is an assessor. It's so important that we assess. This is the main point. We know students are learning. We assess. And there are many ways, huh? of assessment, not simply the, the formative, what summative, diagnostic, and all those sorts. But even when we allow the students to have sense of ownership by self-assessment, right? Normally, I mean, as secondary teachers, start browsing, right? The modules of secondary level from depth ed, you will know that there are lots of activities, and I think each lesson, right, cannot I mean, each lesson will always have this self-assessment part. Like, if are you happy about the lesson, then smile, and then are you sad about it, then make a sad face. So there are many types or ways to assess the learners. We are also what organizer. It's so important that we keep everything organized, not only for our sake as teachers. I mean, for our personal things or stuff, but even with our students, right? Perhaps the most difficult it is, right? Perhaps this is the most difficult and important role that teacher has to play. I remember I used to forget if I gave the zipline to the secretary or I kept it in the faculty room. So most of the time, when I enter the class, I thought I gave it to the secretary and I have it in the faculty room. So I need to go back and so on. So it's really important that we are organized, and it determines our success as well. Especially now, I know you have your lock screen. I also have my lock screen as my I schedule as my lock screen. I hope you I know you're doing that too, or your home screen, right? And you use your schedule as your home screen to remind yourself, right? Even use alarm clock to wake up early just to attend this class and so on. Okay. We are also participant. Yeah, we are also participant, not just the one teaching. Sorry. Let's go back. Okay. We are also participant in the teaching learning process. That's why there's teaching learning process. There's a teacher, right? It's so hard for learning to arise without a teacher. It's not only the professional one, but even your parents, right? They're our teachers growing up. So, yeah, this role definitely improves our atmosphere in the class. I remember I asked my English majors, they're now licensed teachers, but when they were still third year, it's our edtech too. So like TTL2 now, or technology for teaching learning now. I asked them to conduct their micro teaching or their demo teaching. And you know what? I asked them, okay, if you're comfortable, because I don't want you to think that you have a teacher present in the class. So what I told them, okay, if you're comfortable to me calling me, you can use me as a student, not as an observer here or evaluator. And then you know what? They're so happy because they call me early, and then every time they will ask me to join their motivational game, their motivation part, and they will treat me as a classmate. Like they will shout early, early, and they will do that. And then for me, it's fun as long as you will not be, intimidated by my presence. For you to be comfortable, they do, and they were so happy. Even in the student evaluation, I received that comment na, "Ma'am, what you're so fun to be used as our student in the demo teaching and so on." So let's not be very authoritative in that matter. Okay. Next, a tutor. Yeah, definitely. Right? The 21st century is a tutor. We act as a coach. We act as a coach when students would like to work on a project or to have self-study. Right? We need to be a coach there. That's why, as much as possible, we give our time. You know what? Even if it's not a class hour, we as a teacher, well, it's also in the code of ethics, right? That we even extend our time to work or to give consultation to these students for supplemental learning. Okay, so these are the good teachers throughout history. Okay, we have the Athenians, right? The Greeks, particularly the Athenians here, thought one could reason one's way to the truth. Okay, and then we have your Socrates, the Socratic method, right? The art of questioning. That's so important. Probing is a really good technique when you ask a student and then you follow it up with why. Why did you think about that? And then you follow it up with why again. So at least they can come up with the most concrete and most appropriate answer. Okay, and yeah, Socrates also introduced to academic freedom, which I know we are practicing, right? We are implementing in the university, and we have Plato here, the world of ideas, who's known, right, for the world of ideas. And we have Aristotle, rational, systematic method for testing the logic of statements. If you encountered those logical statements, right? And then the sophists, right? The sophists talk about practical, what people wanted to learn. They sold knowledge and marketed themselves. Even the Romans here, right? The Romans also taught us rhetorical arts, right? The very famous here, we have the Augustus Caesar is the first Roman emperor. Okay, and Romans definitely understood the need for hygiene, which we practice, right? Which especially from the basic ed, the need for hygiene, cleanliness, and clean water, right? And next, we also have the Quintilian. Okay, they are known to be the rhetorician, okay, or orators. Okay, so this is from a Quintilian, Institutes of Oratory. He says there, if any of my readers regards me as somewhat exacting in my demands, I would ask him to reflect that it is no easy task to create an orator, even though his education be carried out under the most favorable circumstances, and that further and greater difficulties are still before us. For continuous application, the very best of teachers and a variety of exercises are necessary. Imagine even before their time, right? They're into what? Variety of exercises, right? Not the routinary ones, even though we have, essentialism and perennialism as our isms. Still, right? We talked about progressivism. And we also have your Peter Abelard, right? And Thomas Aquinas, Peter Abelard here is the teacher of his generation. He was also famous, right, as a poet and a musician. Mostly, right, teachers before, they started as poets, musicians, of course. And we have here, of course, Thomas Aquinas, right, very famous in terms of, oh, we also have the theory of human nature, right? A human being is an individual substance of a rational nature, and we have theories of learning. Learning takes place when one person teaches another, and the teacher conveys knowledge to the pupil's mind. Okay? Okay, so for Thomas Aquinas, famous for asking the questions by what methods and what the curriculum would be, the theory of society, theory of opportunity, and theory of consensus. Next, we also have the time of Renaissance, classical humanism. Learning is lifelong, which is our, saying still up to now, right? We need to apply lifelong learning. Okay, and John Amos Comenius, the use of visuals with young children, which is until now, right? Majority of the kids now are visual learners. They just like to see things, watch things, and so on. Even if they can't read, they can understand anime and so on. Okay, next. We also have Maria Montessori, of course, very famous, sensorial education and the unfolding child. Maria Montessori here became one of Italy's first ever female physicians and graduated from the University of Rome's medical program, focusing on psychiatry. And we have Elizabeth Peabody. Okay, Elizabeth Peabody is from United States, and she's a champion of the Froebelian kindergarten. So mostly these two, right? I mean, prioritize the young learners or the education for young learners. And we have Mary MacLeod Bethune, and you know what? There's even, by the way, she's famous when it comes to her contribution to education for African American girls. And you know what? They even celebrate her contribution and her person, her personality. So they even celebrate the mother of festival for her. Imagine people are celebrating contribution in education. So yeah, he worked there, and yeah, matter of education's legacy learning. Next we have here social standards in, oh, it's already time. So sorry, I will not take much of your time, but I will upload this and even the assessment. Okay, assessment activities in the Google Classroom. So may you please go back to the Padlet and then give your major takeaway for all the topics we discussed. So thank you, and we'll have your echoing of, well, for next week we will not have synchronous class. That will be your week for the assessment activities. Okay, so can you give me a like or act if that's okay with you or good news with you? Okay, so next week, we'll rest when it comes to this, but you will do the assessment activity. So yeah, thank you. Let's have our class picture. Okay, yeah, let's all smile. I will just be the one to count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, turn on your videos. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, next slide. Okay, next panel. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, again, thank you so much for your cooperation, and I hope it's not information overload. And thank you for all your passion that is still burning as of the moment, and may you keep that. Okay, may you raise the flag of teachers. God bless you all, and see you when I see you. God bless.
Thank you
Thank you,
po.
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
God
ma'am.
ma'am.
bless you,
Thank you
ma'am.
po,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
God
God
bless din
bless
po.
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 Thank you po, ma'am.
Stay safe,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.